You good? No, you're not. You're not, baby, and it's okay. You're not good, and it's okay. You don't need to be good all the time. It's okay to not be good.
This is about to be a show. Just putting it out there. What's going on, you guys? My name is Noel. Welcome to my commentary and entertainment channel where I talk about whatever it is I want to talk about. And today we are doing a story time. If you would like to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram. It's gonna pop up somewhere on the screen. And you can also follow me on Twitter. It's not gonna be on the screen that long. Just pause it so that you can get the social media deets. Yeah. Without further ado, let's get started. Because today we are talking about a story time. Because over winter break, because I'm about to start school again, I had the worst date of my life. If not the worst date, definitely top 2, top 3 material. Okay? Now, when it comes to love and dating, I suck. I am vomiting, crying, throwing up on the floor, in the trenches, fighting for my life. It's never a good time. I never succeed. It always goes awry. Some way, somehow. And it always goes wrong in the most catastrophic ways possible. Although for this story time, I might be being a little bit dramatic, but honestly, even if I'm being dramatic, it got to a place where it didn't need to be. This all started on Bumble Best Friend. Bumble Best Friend, not the dating part, the best friend part. I originally downloaded Bumble so that I could like meet new people when I moved to Illinois, so I can make some, black friends, black queer friends, yada yada yada. Although in my area, I have yet to see one black person on the Bumble, so whatever. But I'm making friends anyway. But that's not the point. I was on Bumble Best Friend while I was back home in DC, or I live in like Suitland, Maryland, so, right on the street from DC, same area. And I matched with somebody and we started talking and communicating, and that's how things got started. Now, honestly, at this point, I was going through a lot of trial and error. Like, I look at dating as trial and error. So I tried and I ran into an error.
Well, excuse me.
So yes, so me and this guy started communicating through text messages. He quickly asked for my phone number and we started texting. And I noticed very quickly that he had a smart mouth.
No, ma'am.
He had a little bit of an attitude. The tongue was really sharp. It was poking. It was doing a lot. And I don't need a lot, all right? I have room for one attitude in my life, and that is mine, okay? So he had a quick attitude. He had an attitude. And for an example, like when we first started texting, he said, send me pics. So I sent him a picture. And then he goes, I said pics, as in plural. So I'm like, okay, that's a little rude, but okay. And I mean, and I don't really understand, why when you like start texting somebody off of a dating app, they automatically say, let's see pictures. Because I mean, for me, on every app that I'm on, I have multiple photos of myself. So it's like, you clearly know what I look like because you messaged me. So clearly you like what you saw enough to like continue a conversation. So like, I don't understand why I need to send you 5 more photos when you just probably scrolled through like all 7 that I already have on my profile. But neither here nor there. So that was the first attitude, okay? Then the second attitude was, I asked him, like, what are you looking for? Because whenever I start dating somebody, whenever I start like casually dating or getting to know somebody, I always ask what you're looking for, because it's good to establish boundaries, what expectations, yada, yada, yada. Some people are just, just dating to have fun. Some people are just looking for, hookups. Some people are looking for, I don't know what they're looking for. I don't know a third other thing that I'm not clever enough to think of at this moment. The first thing that he said out of his mouth was that he was DL and that he had never been with a guy. And then he proceeded to say a lot of other things about getting to know people and dating and relationships and yada yada yada. But the very first thing in my mind was that you said that you've never been with a guy. So in my mind, I process that as he wants a hookup. Like, if someone asks you what you're looking for and the very first thing that you say is, I've never been with X, Y, and Z, and I am X, Y, and Z, then I'm gonna assume that your intentions are to engage with me. So I told him, well, hey, I'm just looking for dates. I'm not really looking for like a hookup or whatever. And then he goes, well, I never said I was just looking for a hookup. I was just pointing out that it's an aspect of whatever I'm going through or something like that. And I was like, okay, clearly he was upset about that. So I was like, you know what, maybe I read the message wrong, maybe I misconstrued things, maybe I was wrong. This is me being mature. So I said, you know what, my bad, I made an assumption, I apologize. And then he goes, yeah, that's where guys go wrong with me.
Red flag.
And I'm just rolling my eyes in the back of my head, 'cause I'm just like, girl, like, it's not that deep. Like, I was just like, the attitude was on a 10. The attitude? No, the attitude was on a 8.2. You know, it was a little too high for someone that you're just knowing. Like, if it's with like the first 30 minutes that we're talking to each other, you shouldn't have an attitude. But neither here nor there. So then we're texting and talking and yada yada yada, and I asked him like, do you want to grab lunch, grab food sometimes? Because I find that like 90% of the people that I talk to on Tinder, like it's just talking and like we never meet up. Or Tinder or Bumble, whatever dating app, the majority of the people that I talk to, I never meet up with. But I was home for winter break, I wanted to date and get out of there, so my mind was like, let's meet up. Let's actually do something, otherwise we're just texting on the internet and it's not gonna go anywhere. So I was like, hey, do you wanna get lunch? And he was like, yeah, cool, shebang. So we planned a day, we picked a day, picked a time, and I had suggested a place in DC just because I don't have a car right now. I have a license, I do not have a car. So I like places that are like cheap to get to, like metro accessible, and places I can get to where I need to get to in a reasonable amount of time with like little to no money. Because outside of DC, like once you get to like District Heights and Waldorf and Temple Hills and stuff, like the only way out there is like the bus. So like once you start getting out to those areas, it starts getting a little hectic. I didn't want to do that. So he ended up saying that he didn't want to do that because the restaurant I suggested I had already been to. So he was like, hey, let's go to this place. And the place that he suggested was in Shady Grove, was in Gaithersburg, Maryland. And if you're not from the DC area, or if you're not from the DC area, or you're not familiar with like the DC Metro, Shady Grove is the last line on the red line. So the color of the line is irrelevant, but like just know that it is it's like the end of the line. Like it's on the opposite side. I live in Suitland, Maryland, so Gaithersburg, Maryland is like on the opposite end of like DC, I guess, exiting that side of DC. It's a different part of Maryland. It was far out, but I was like, you know what? Like I told him like, if you don't like what I suggested, you're more than welcome to like suggest other things. So I was like, you know what? That's cool. So I was like, you know what? Let me just be a sport. You know, I can go out there. I will do that. So I'm like, yeah, I'll go out there. I'll do that. And then I'm on my way there. The day of the date comes. I'm on my way there. I'm like sitting at the metro station at Suitland, about to get on the metro station, and he's texting me and he's like, how are you gonna get there? And I was like, I'm gonna take a Lyft. I didn't say metro just because I was self-conscious, because I feel like if you take public transportation, people kind of judge you like, oh, you're poor or you're broke or whatever have you. So in my self-consciousness, I said I'm gonna take a Lyft, but I was taking the metro. So he was like, okay, he said, okay. And I was like, yeah. He said, oh, I wasn't sure like how you were getting out there. And I was like, yeah, I'm just taking a metro. And I assumed that he thought that I was gonna like pick him up or something, because I didn't know if he wanted me to, because I asked him out, I didn't know if he wanted me to pick him up and like take him there, but I was like, you know, I just thought it would be convenient if we just meet at the place that you suggested. And he was like, okay, I guess. Now this part may have been my fault a little bit, just because I was like, text messaging is very difficult because you can't discern tone through text messages. So like I took okay, I guess, as like he was disappointed in the fact that I was like not gonna pick him up or that we were gonna meet there. And on top of that, he had caught several attitudes before then. So in my mind, courting should not be difficult. Courting should not be this difficult. Like if we are not even in a relationship yet, if we are like in the process of getting to know each other, if we haven't even met in person, like mind you, I had known this dude for less than 48 hours. You should not be getting this aggravated. Like you should not be getting this irritated. Like if you are getting this, if you're this quick to get irritated through like a text conversation, this is not gonna work. This is not gonna work. Like, no, if you're already this irritated with me and we haven't even met in person, we should just call it off. So I was just like, I was getting tired of like the attitude and what I viewed as like dismissiveness. So I simply said, hey, maybe I'm not the person for you. Maybe this is not gonna work. Maybe you should just go talk to someone else, because just do that. And then he got super upset and he's just like, what do you mean you're not the person for me? And that's so childish. Say what you mean. Why are you acting like that? Yada, yada, yada. I'm 24. I'm grown. And yada, 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 yada.
They know, girl, did you? Yeah. I don't want to hear that.
And I was just like, you know, you've caught several attitudes via text message, and I just feel like you get so irritated with me so quickly that we should not continue with this. Like, obviously we're not compatible. Obviously it's not gonna work. Like, we shouldn't meet with each other. And he was like, and then he basically just said that, you can't discern tone over text message, so that's not my fault, but I'll work on it. Okay. I feel like I've matured a lot. I'm a very try to work with you type of person. So like we can talk through things, If there's a gap in communication, like I want to bridge the gap, let's figure out why we are not seeing eye to eye. Let's figure it out. I'm a very let's work it out type of person. So I was just like, you know what? Are we cool? Do you still want to go out? Do you still want to meet up? Yada, yada, yada. And he's like, yes. Okay. So I go there. So I take the train all the way to 2 stops before Shady Grove because the DC Metro, the red line is under construction. The portion of it to Shady Grove is under construction until like January 16th. So like I had to get off 2 stations before Shady Grove, hop on a shuttle bus where I then ran into this Asian woman who started talking about like genocide and social media and like how to be raptured and stuff. This is not relevant to the story. I just wanted to point that out. Like she was talking to me for like a solid like 5 minutes straight. And she was talking super fast and like she didn't even take a break. So I don't even, all I got was genocide, eating healthy, and stay off social media so that you can get raptured by Jesus Christ. I don't know what was going on with her that day, but she was going through things. So yeah, so after I hit the shuttle, I get to Shady Grove, I take a lift there, and I'm texting like, hey, I'm there. I was late, but I told him I was gonna be late, so he knew that I was gonna be late, so it wasn't an issue. But it starts drizzling, but luckily, you know, a bitch like me, I stay ready, so I had an umbrella. But I'm outside this restaurant, I have an umbrella, it's cold outside, and I'm just like, he needs to get here, So he finally comes, and when I see him, I am disappointed. I was disappointed. Now, mind you, okay, this is not a read. Okay, I don't know. Maybe it is a read. I don't know. Take it as a read. He said that he was DL. I don't really care that much unless I'm like in a relationship with somebody, like whatever. I was really just using this date as a moment to like get out the house because I was tired of being in the house and doing nothing. It was winter break. So he did not, like he wasn't a catfish. Like he looked like his photo. It was just very much what I ordered versus what I got. Like he did not look as good as he did in the photographs, okay? Also, he was very feminine, which is nothing wrong with. Like I date feminine and masculine men. Like I don't care if you're feminine or masculine or in between. I like men. If I like you, I like you. But I just thought it was interesting that he said he was DL and it was given very much one of the girls. Like he was given one of the girls, like, there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm just like, there's no way you're DL. Cause baby, the moment you opened your mouth, the moment you walked up, I could tell. So if you're DL, good for you, but I don't think anybody's buying that, mama. Not to say that now there, you know, he was bisexual, but like, there are bisexual and straight men who are feminine. I'm just saying, if he was DL, he was not convincing. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just pointing it out. It was not convincing. Like I was like, I wouldn't have known, girl. If you hadn't told me, I would not have known. So immediately when I see him, I'm like, okay, he doesn't look as good as the photos. I'm turned off. But, and I mean, I wasn't going to hook up with him, but I was just like, I'm like not interested in anything romantic at this moment. But I had spent money. I had spent time going out there. I had taken a train. I had taken a bus. I had taken a lift out there. So I was like, what I'm going to do is be kind and respectful, because that's what I believe. You should always be respectful, especially if you commit to something. If you commit to meeting with somebody, if you're going on a date, regardless if you find the person attractive or halfway through the date or within 5 minutes of the date you realize you don't like this person, you should still be respectful to people because people have feelings, and I didn't want to be rude. So I was like, I'm gonna see him out. I already spent money coming out here, so the least I can do is get food with the man, talk to him, and then go home and then politely tell him that I want to see him again. That was my plan. So we ended up going to Corner Bakery. The place that he suggested, it was, I thought it was a restaurant. It was actually like a shopping center. A shopping center. I want to say it's like Rivers Lakeside something in Gaithersburg, Maryland. It was very pretty, very nice, but it was very cold and very crowded. And I had my mask. I was double masked up. I wasn't playing no games. So we ended up going to Corner Bakery, and immediately I realized that he talks a lot. Like, granted, I was not as talkative as I usually am. You know, I usually get more talkative with people I'm comfortable with. But I was not talking as much because, one, I had gotten up early to meet him. Although that's my fault because I set the time. And then I had taken all these modes of transportation to get there. So I was tired from all this traveling. And he did acknowledge that, and he was like, wow, you really came all the way out here to meet me. So like, so he was like, I'm comfortable carrying most of the conversation and leading things because, you know, you showed me the energy by coming all the way out here. So I'm going to show you the energy by, like, you know, engaging and stuff. So that was what was happening. But he talked a lot. To the point where like he asked me a question, and then before I could answer the question, he proceeded to talk.
You gave me Lady learning that choreography. Your voice, your attitude, everything. To learn that choreography. So you got it, girl. Ass off. Could you shut up a second?
Like he literally was like, oh yeah, so like yada 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 yada, and then he was like, oh wait, I know I just asked you a question, but yada 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 yada. And then I would talk, and then he would cut me off. So I would just like stop talking, and I would just smile and nod and just. And then when he was done talking, I would wait for him to realize that he had cut me off and then ask me to continue. That's where we were at. So I was like, okay, I'm annoyed. So just to recap so far, he does not look as good as his photos, and he talks and overtalks people. So he was, he was 0 for 2 right now. So I'm gonna say this is gonna be relevant later on. While we were talking, he was very, he was complimenting me. Like, he was telling me that I looked really good, that I was beautiful. He said that he liked my style and how I dressed. And he was giving me a lot of compliments. Keep that in mind for later. It will be relevant, I promise. So after we eat, we start walking around the shopping center. We, feed the geese. We're getting to know each other, chatting it up, yada, yada, yada. He's still carrying most of the conversation, mostly because he overtalks people, and, I was over it. Like, at this point, I wasn't talking that much, and you were already over-talking me, so I was just there for the ride at this point. So we end up sitting down by this little fire pit, and he's like, can I ask you, some sexual questions? And he prefaces, oh yeah, this is not me trying to be raunchy or, gross, but I just think, if this goes somewhere, then it's things I should know about you, just so that I know for future reference. So I'm like, okay, you can ask the questions. I mean, this is not gonna go anywhere, but you can ask the questions. You sure can ask the questions. So he's asking me the questions. I think the first thing he asked me was do you wear condoms? I'm like, of course I wear condoms. And then he hits me with I just feel like if you're in a relationship, you shouldn't wear condoms. There's no point. I'm gonna have sex with you, and you're having sex with me, then it doesn't matter. Protection, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, I mean, I get that, but, protection is protection. If someone wants to wear protection, it doesn't really matter if they're, in a relationship or not. Just wear the protection. It is. I mean, it's also a consent thing. Stealthing is very much assault. So, wear a condom at all times. So someone asks you to wear a condom. And then I ended up bringing up, PrEP to him. And then, for those of you who don't know, I think I mentioned it, but PrEP is a once a day pill that protects you against HIV. I think it's 99 or 98%. I don't have the exact numbers, but basically you take it once a day, and that way if you are exposed to HIV, it protects you against it. So it's a preventative. So if you have HIV, you got it, but if you don't have it, then it's a preventative. And he was telling me how he didn't agree with that because he thinks if you're on PrEP, then you're being promiscuous and yada yada yada. And I was just I mean, no. I hear what you're saying. I disagree because it's protection. Who is protection? It's protection. 2 bulletproof vests are better than 1. Who cares? If you're in a relationship, you want to take PrEP and protect yourself against HIV, because you never know. People step out of relationships, people cheat, anything can happen. You can get an STI or an STD or HIV whether you're in a relationship or not. Obviously the statistics are probably higher if you are having multiple partners, but you can catch it in multiple ways, so there's nothing wrong with protection. You never know what could happen in this lifetime. So I found that a little bit problematic. I didn't care too much. I was I have evolved enough as a person to I can confidently say hey, I don't agree with this take. I think this take is really bad. I disagree, but I respect your right to believe what you want to believe and leave it at that. Except for certain things racism, I'm gonna always be on your neck. Homophobia, I'm gonna always be on your neck. Misogyny, I'm gonna stay on your neck, But if it's favorite ice cream flavors, favorite TV shows, little shits like that, I can let it go. But I'm very much I was very much I disagree, but you can believe what you want to believe. No tea, no shade. And then and I will say throughout the date, he kept saying if this works out, he was if this works out, I'm gonna get you into fashion. I'm gonna buy you an outfit. If this works out, I'm gonna get you into books if you're not into books, because he ended up taking me to this bookstore. But I was in my mind I was just this is not gonna work out, it's not gonna go anywhere. But you're a dreamer, you like to dream, so dream on. Dream on! So yeah, so throughout this date, I set the date for 1 o'clock, but I got there 2 because transportation. But I did that because I had plans. So after hanging out with him, I was going to go see my friends from college, drink some wine, get some dinner, catch up, yada yada yada. Yeah. And he knew this. So he's taking me around the bookstore and stuff, and I'm looking at the clock, and it's getting closer and closer for me to leave, and I also I still had to I was pretty far out from where I needed to be. So like, I was like, I knew I was gonna be late regardless, but I was like, I need to leave soon. But he wanted me to go with him into like this bookstore, and like he's looking at the books and he's talking, and I'm just looking at my phone like it's time to go. And honestly, I should have taken the initiative and be like, listen, I really gotta go. But eventually he was like, hey, I think it's time for you to leave. I think it's time for you to like be getting on. So I was like, yeah. So he's like, where are you gonna go? Like, how are you getting back? And I told him I was gonna go back to the restaurant like where we met, and I was gonna call a Lyft, and then I was gonna, you know, be on my way. But he was like, actually, you should come to my hotel. You should walk me to my hotel, and you can call it from there because we're in the middle of the shopping center and there's like a lot of traffic, which is correct. Like, there was a lot of traffic. There were cars everywhere. Like, it would have taken a Lyft forever to get out there. That was cool. What was not cool was the fact that he forgot the way to his hotel. So we were ended up walking around in the cold for like a good 15 to 20 minutes because he could not remember the way there. So I was annoyed because, one, I had to go, and two, I was hanging out with this guy that I wasn't interested in, and then three, it was cold AF. So I was ready to go. So we finally get to his hotel, and I call my Lyft, and the Lyft's like 2-3 minutes away, so I'm like, boom, it's ready to go. All I gotta do is hop on this Lyft, say goodbye to this man, and then when I get to wherever I'm gonna get, I will tell him that I will not be seeing him ever again in a polite way. Polite. Because I'm polite. And then he proceeds to state what he believes are jokes. Now I'm gonna say what he said, and then you can tell me for yourself that they were jokes. So first he asked me randomly, no, he said, are you gonna come upstairs and I was just like, ha 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 ha, like laughing it off very awkwardly because it was awkward because that was out of nowhere. Ha 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 ha. Especially because I don't know why he asked that question, because I told him before that like hooking up was not on my like radar for things to do, but whatever. And then he was like, are you hung?
Arrested, prosecuted, send him to jail. Good, done with that guy.
I'm just like, ha 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 ha. And mind you, he's like laughing at these statements. And I'm just like awkwardly like, ha 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 ha, checking my phone. Where is the Lyft? I need to go. And I was like, he claimed that those were jokes. Those are not jokes, those are statements. Those are questions. It's not a joke. A joke has a punchline, and yours had no punchline. And even if it was a joke, it wasn't funny. It was awkward. It was weird. It was random. It was out of nowhere. So, yeah. And honestly, I really should have told him like then and there, like I didn't want to see him again. But one, I was being nice, and two, he was already like so intense over text messages, like he was so quick to anger that I was like, if I tell this man that I don't want to see him in person, how's he gonna act? And honestly, I'm glad I didn't do that because I feel like it would have escalated considering what he did later on. So the Lyft gets there, I give him a hug, and then he's like, can I text you? And I'm like, sure. You can text me. Sure. Also, I just want to point out, like, he said those sexual, like, comments, and I was just like, mind you, there was no, like, flirtation, like, I didn't even touch this man. Like, I gave him a hug I gave him a side hug when I saw him, and a side hug when I left. We weren't holding hands, we weren't groping, we weren't skipping down the meadows to grandma's house. We was not doing none of that. We was literally just talking. It was very, like, I was not making any physical contact with this man in any shape, way, or form that should have made him feel comfortable enough to say what he said. Just putting that out there. So I get in the Lyft, I meet with my friends, and this is where things start to go south. So he texts me, and he's like, hey, did you get what you're going? I'm like, yeah, I made it, I'm safe. And he's like, did you have fun? And I was like, it was cool. I was like, it was good conversation, fun conversation. And I mean, we did have like a lot in common. So we did have, when he allowed me to speak, when he wasn't like, hogging the conversation, we did speak a lot. We did have some stuff in common. But I was like, it was a fun conversation. I was still gonna tell him that I didn't want to see him again. I was trying to figure out a way to say that politely, but I was still, being nice. And honestly, I should start being more honest. I should start being like more honest, like, this is not cool, I didn't enjoy it, like I should have been like that. And then he hits me with the, is that how you really feel? Now I'm gonna pause before I go off. Who does that? Like, who asked that question? If you go on a date with somebody and you in your heart of hearts believe that the date went well, why are you prying for further information? If I go on a date with a guy and I asked him how it went and he said he had fun, I'm not gonna ask him, is that how you really feel? The fact that he asked me, is that how I really feel, lets me know that you know deep down in your heart that this date did not go well. You knew it didn't go well. You knew it wasn't great. That's why you asked the question. Is that how you really feel? You knew it didn't go well. So why did you even ask me that? Clearly you're prying for something. And don't ask the questions you're not ready for the answers to. Okay? If you're not ready for the answers, don't ask me my opinion. So I'm like, okay, well, mind you, one, this dude is giving me an attitude. He's giving me attitudes. He made me uncomfortable. He didn't look that good. And I was just over it. So I was like, you know what? You want to know how I feel? I'm going to tell you how I feel. So I wasn't even like, at this point, I wasn't even rude. I was just like, hey, to be honest with you, like the sexual comments you made towards the end made me uncomfortable. And then he goes, what? Why? What do you mean it made you uncomfortable? I told you that I only asked sexual questions to get to know you better, and it wasn't to be raunchy or weird and raunchy or anything. So like, I just don't understand like why you're being like yada 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 yada. Like he was going off, and I was just like, well, I mean, I was like, it's just my opinion. Like you made sexual comments that made me uncomfortable, and it is what it is. Like I said, I'm not attacking you. Like this is not an attack. I literally said this is not an attack. And then he goes, well, it feels like an attack because you're telling me that my sense of humor and my personality made you uncomfortable. Bitch. So then I'm just like, so one, he's gaslighting me. And I'm telling my friends what's happening as I'm texting him, but he's gaslighting the f*** out of me. Like, dude, you asking someone if they can just fuck you out of nowhere, and asking someone if they're about like their genitalia and like if they're hung or whatever, randomly, it's gonna make some people uncomfortable. And it wasn't a joke. You just made a comment. It was a statement. It was a question. It wasn't a joke. And I have a right to be uncomfortable. Like, I'm not gonna, like, I don't give a fuck if that's your personality. I don't give a fuck if that's your, like, sense of humor. Like, it was, I didn't like it. If I didn't like it, I didn't like it. Shut up. So then basically he was just like, what? So then he flipped it on me further and said that it was my fault because I should have told him in the moment that I was uncomfortable. And if I had told him that I was uncomfortable in the moment, then none of that would have happened. And that his issue with me is that I don't say things right away when I'm uncomfortable. Basically saying it's my fault that happened. Wow. So at this moment, I stopped responding because I'm with my friends, we're drinking, we're having a good time, we're drinking wine. It's a good night. Like, I'm not gonna let this person ruin my night. So I was like, I don't have any more conversations for him because it's not going anywhere. And honestly, I don't care about the conversation anymore because I don't intend on meeting with this man ever again in life. So I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about what he feels and me saying, I don't give a fuck because you're not going to see me again. So I hang out with my friend. I ended up spending the night at my friend's place. It was a good time, yada, yada, yada. Now, this is where things go to a whole different level. So I wake up in the morning, I'm like, it's time to just rip the Band-Aid off. It's time to get to what we need to get to. So I text him, and all I say is, hey, to be honest, you're a very nice guy, but I don't see myself continuing on with the situation. That's all I said. Very polite, very respectful, very kind. I didn't say, ew, nigga, you're weird. I don't want to ever see you again. Get out my face. I didn't block him or like unmatch him without an explanation and just disappear and ghost him. Like, no, like I hate when people do that to me because it leaves me like, makes me uncomfortable. I mean, it hurts your feelings sometimes, especially if you like the person. Obviously, like sometimes you want to know where things went wrong. Like, what did I do that this didn't work out so that I can work on it for like future reference, not for that person. But, so yeah, this man proceeds to go off. I'm not going to read the text message. Actually, maybe I will read the text message verbatim. Because I have time. So I'm going to read the text message that he sent me. All right. So once again, all I said was, hey, I'm just going to be honest. You're a nice guy, but I don't see myself continuing on with the situation, but I wish you the best of luck. He sends me a paragraph, a choreography, and he goes, I knew that when I met you, I wasn't into you either, and a couple of comments you said I wasn't feeling, and you wasn't that cute to me. You look way different from your pics, from your nails, because I had French tips at the time, and just was a lot, and your conversation was boring AF. You like to go on dates and just tell people off all the time. LMAO, it excites you. That's exactly why I made your dumb ass come here. I wasn't about to waste my time or money, weirdo. You're not a nice guy, and your breath wasn't right. I don't wish you the best of luck. You're evil and phony as hell. Okay. Mind you, all I said was I was very nice. So mind you, this man has called me ugly after, and everything, like, I didn't even give a fuck at that point, because I was just like, half the shit that you are trying to read me on, you complimented me on. Like, you told me that I was cute. You told me that you liked my style. You were telling me how if this works out, you want to do this, that, and the third. Like, you really, like, you asked, like, girl, if I was ugly and I had bad breath and I couldn't dress and I was all these horrible, phony, evil things. Mind you, he called me evil because I said I didn't want a second date. Like, if I'm all these horrible things, why did you jokingly ask if I would have sex with you? Why would you ask if I was hung? Like, you, like, really, you just try to sleep with people that you find ugly, unattractive, can't dress, bad breath, like, you are evil? If I'm an evil person and you want to have sex with me? Come on now. Like, I was like, okay, he's clearly in his feelings, because half the shit that you went in on me about, you complimented me on. So, like, bitch, you lost. So at this point, I was like, you know what? It's not even worth it. Let me leave it alone. Like, he's clearly mad. He's immature, because I was very nice to this man. I was very nice. I didn't say anything out of the way, anything out of the pocket. I didn't get out of whack. I didn't get out of character, none of that. So I blocked him. I blocked the number. And then I was like, hell no, fuck that. Because number one, you've been gaslighting me. Number one, you didn't even look that good. Number two, you were rude. Number three, you just basically just went in on me for, like, no reason. And on top of that, you just tried to flip it on me and said that you made me come all the way out there to meet you to waste my money, knowing that you didn't like me, which doesn't make any sense. Because why would you want to meet with somebody that you don't like? Why would you spend 2 hours with someone that you don't like? That don't make no fucking sense. So I then proceeded to unblock him and make a rebuttal.
Before, I was going to keep it to myself. That actually, I think I'm a little bothered now.
I'm very analytical. Maybe this is a little evil, I'm not going to say. But, like, I'm very analytical. Like, I analyze people. Like, when we're talking, I'm looking at the face, I'm looking at the ears, I'm looking at the nose, I'm looking at the body, I'm looking at the mouth. Like, I'm a very detail-oriented person. That way, I mean, I just do details just because that's just how I am, very observant. But the plus side to that is I'm very observant, so bitch, when I have to get you together, I'm gonna get you together because I've already analyzed your makeup. I already know. So when he was talking to me, I noticed that the bottom row of his mouth, his teeth, had too many teeth, had excess teeth. And to the point where there was a tooth behind one of them, like this, like at a 90-degree angle. So it was basically like a crowded middle school pep rally and someone trying to squeeze into the bleachers. Like, it's basically a middle schooler at a pep rally trying to squeeze into the bleachers. That's what the tooth was giving. So I proceeded to tell him, I told him, you and that raggedy tooth at the bottom of your mouth that sits at a 90-degree angle can go to hell. Because, bitch, stop it. Stop. Leave me alone. Leave me the fuck alone. I didn't do shit to you. I didn't do shit to you. I was very nice to you. Like, listen, I get it. Rejection hurts. It sucks. It's bad. It's not bad, but it's a part of life. And it's not a fun part of life. But, like, bitch, they don't get you the right to, like, get me together. And I blocked him again. And then in less than like 2 minutes, this man hit me from a second number and started calling me, like, he called me the F word. He said that I couldn't dress, that I was ugly, that I was stupid, and that I could block as many numbers as I wanted, but he was still gonna keep harassing and bullying me. And yes, he used the word harass and bully.
Loser!
So bitch, I won. Bitch, I won. Bitch, you hit me from a second number after I blocked you in less than 2 minutes. In less than 2 minutes, you hit me from a separate number, bitch. You're weird. Bitch, you're weird, and I won, bitch. I fucking won. I fucking won, bitch. You're a weirdo. Raggedy ass cunt. Raggedy ass. Like, bitch, you're raggedy. You're raggedy. And at the end of the day, I'm just really glad that I'm so comfortable with myself. Like, I am comfortable with my looks. I'm getting more comfortable with my body. We're getting there. We're going to the gym. About to get back in the gym on Monday. New year, new me. You know, I'm glad that I'm very comfortable enough, because I feel like I still have insecurities, but I feel like if I was like as insecure as I was when I was like in high school and stuff, and like middle school and stuff, I would have like definitely like crumbled underneath that. But I look good. I have no shortage of like, I can get a date. Like, I've been on many dates. So I wouldn't even say many dates, but I've had many people interested in me. Like, it's not the end of the world. I will find someone else. But like, bitch, you're not gonna fucking try me. Bitch, And like, was I dressed the nicest? No, I had on like a hoodie and a jacket. It's fucking winter. But this bitch wasn't looking good. A white boho men's shirt, a puffer jacket, a beanie to cover his head because he did not have a shape up, bitch. He had like these dusty like Omarion B2K braids that needed to be retwisted. Like, the bitch was not giving what he thought he was giving. Like, bitch, you was looking bummy. Like, you didn't have no Balenciagas or any designer, bitch. You was looking regular, degular, just like me. So, I mean, we could have gone back and forth, but I didn't give a fuck at this point. But it's cool though. It's okay. It's okay, because you know everybody gets to karma any day. And he said that was also his first date. So I feel like he was very like he was hoping it was gonna go somewhere. It was not gonna go somewhere. So yeah, the moral of the story is read the red flags. When you see the red flags, no, don't even read the red flags. When you see the red flags, follow them. That is the moral of the story. The moral of the story is when you see red flags, go. Because the moment that he caught an attitude, like when he was catching like multiple attitudes over the phone, I should just ended it there. Like, that's my fault. Like, there were clear signs that this man was not stable and was not a good person. And I continue to go because for whatever reason. And you know what? I'm going to call myself out. I'm going to, you know, as Jada Pinkett Smith said, I'm going to bring myself to the red table. I feel that I feel like people in general, but especially within the gay community, the cuter that somebody is, the more that they're allowed to get away with. Like, if somebody is like, if a dude is really attractive, has a nice body, and in this case, his pictures look really nice. So if a guy has a nice body, he's really attractive, you know, he can get away with more. He can like get away with like having an attitude. He can get away with having a shitty personality. He can get away with, you know, not texting you back or ignoring text messages or just being dismissive and ghosting. Like, and that's something that needs to stop. Like, no, it doesn't matter how cute somebody is. If they're stressing you out, they gotta go. They gotta go. So partially it's my fault because I saw the red flags and I ignored them. And I should not have done that again. And I will not do that again because, bitch, no. Bitch, no. Bitch, no. Okay? Alright. With that being said, that's the end of story time. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it entertaining. I hope it was funny for you. And I hope you really enjoyed it. Once again, my name is Cameron Noel. Thank you for joining me. If you made it all the way here, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell notification down below so that you get notified when I upload new videos. And I will see you next time. Peace.
Boy toy named Troy used to live in Detroit. Big dope dealing money, he was getting some coins. Wasn't shootouts with the law, but he lived in a palace.